Hi everyone, my name is Sahar, and the four frames of references I'm going to go over are biomechanical, uh, rehabilitative, cognitive, and developmental. So, starting with biomechanical. So, the thing that, excuse me, practitioners, OT practitioners should notice and pay attention to with this is going to be limitations that the client has in regards to strength, endurance, range of motion. They should pay attention to maybe like obviously if there's like a fracture, is there edema, like swelling? Is there maybe like where is there pain? So things like that. So get a little closer for you guys to see. So the assumptions is that with this frame of reference is that if these things are fixable. So if these things are fixed, these physical ailments of the body, then the person is able to um, partake in there. You want to fix these issues or, get them back to where they were as close as you can to that so that they can participate in their meaningful occupations again. Interventions that naturally fit this would be basically taking care of these things like we talked about. So you want to increase the client's strength, their range of motion, their endurance, just restoring that physical function. And then it would be best for people who have physical issues that can be fixed. So I put fracturing a bone. I thought I put another, like a burn, because if you get burns that are deeper, they can obviously cause physical issues to the body as well, especially with like a third degree. Um, and then arthritis, like a herniated disc, injuries to the hands, the joints. So those would all fit into what you could use the frame of reference for. So basically what the practitioner would want to do is focus on these things. So they want to focus on increasing the range of motion, the strength, restoring it. So endurance, all of those would be beneficial. So the example that I used for this would be like a 25-year-old female who fractured her radius closer to the carpals. And so she ended up having issues and she's a mom and she takes care of the house. So that ended up causing issues where this would be a perfect one for the frame reference for someone who um, that can be fixed and restored. And so you want to help them so that they can go back to cooking, cleaning, taking care of their child. And then basically, this would be especially helpful for people who have physical limitations that are occurring, but that can be eventually restored. So if it can be restored, then this would probably be the right frame of reference for those people because you are targeting those physical ailments. All right. So the next one is going to be rehabilitative. And with rehabilitative, so this is different than what we just discussed, because with rehabilitative, then you're not going to be able to restore. So since you can't restore the person's physical function, then what you're going to want to do is change something. So whether you're going to want to modify, adapt, compensate. So either the person is going to find a different way to do the um, meaningful occupations. Like I said, whether they might use adaptive equipment. So I put like a walker here. Other things could be like a reacher, a button hook. Um, they're gonna, compensation's gonna occur. They're gonna learn how to adapt. The environment may be changing where things are located. So spinal cord injury, Parkinson's disease, stroke. That's why I have basically the brain and spinal cord here. And the reason I liked that I put this one is it's like a puzzle, so you can't really tell. It's four pieces, puzzle, and they're blue, but then one's pink. So what I wanted to show was that there is something that can be restored, but it was replaced with something else to still make it complete. So, the practitioner will notice that things can be fully restored, but what you want to do is focus on what the client can do so that again, you can go ahead and overcome this, adapt, modify so they can still take part in their meaningful occupations. The assumption should be again that those ailments aren't going to be, those dysfunctions aren't going to be fixed. So we have to find another way to get around them. Things we want to prioritize is basically increasing the independence for that client, recommending that they use adaptive equipment and changing the environment for them, and just making sure safety is a priority. And like I mentioned, stroke, spinal cord, Parkinson's disease could be some potential clients this could work for. and how the OTA would implement intervention. They would teach their clients these how to modify, the modifications, the adaptations, how to use adaptive equipment, how their environment should be different so that they could still take part in these activities. And then the client that I have is a 65-year-old male who has Parkinson's. So he was having difficulties because of like the tremor and stuff. And so he was having difficulties with buttoning and unbuttoning his shirt. So the practitioner could teach him how to use a button hook to button and unbutton his shirt so that he can still dress himself and be independent just using adaptive equipment. And then this frame of reference would be best for when someone has, like I said, a physical dysfunction that is not going to be restored. So you're finding a different way to do the activity. All right. So the next one is going to be, I think I skipped it, developmental. So that's this one. All right. So this one, let me get close for you guys to see. So developmental is actually just like it's going to help people who have any type of delays or disruption in developing. So developing, that we talked about how even if you're going to work with geriatric population, it's still important to understand pediatrics because development, things develop from when they're little all the way to when they get older. So it's going to be everything: motor, cognitive, social, emotional skills. All these skills are important. So, need to understand all these milestones. Sorry about that. What assumptions? The assumptions are that we talked about that before in class that um, development is predictable. So it is supposed to go in a certain way. And then when it doesn't occur in that way is when obviously there's dysfunction that's occurring. So interventions, age appropriate skills, improving their fine and gross motor skills, self care and play and participation and social skills would be all things. These are really hard to stay on. So some of the things I included was with developmental to represent it. So I had a little small plant as a seed and then grew into a tree. So it continued developing. We want to have people develop their skills. Growth is very important. This is going to also represent play and social skills. My drawings are not good. ABCs, because before you can spell a word, you have to know the letters. And then the stairs to represent just developing and continuing to grow. Sorry, this one's not staying very well, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it like this. And then basically we talked about interventions, the population. So people who are not developing as they should, do they have developmental delays? So those could be maybe people who have autism spectrum disorder, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and then just any type of motor or cognitive development that may not be occurring. For the client, like that, let me show you guys. Sorry, I know it's not showing very good right now. It's just a little hard. It wouldn't stay on my face. And then the way that the OT would implement these, so doing appropriate activities for whatever age or cognitive motor development stage that client is at, and then helping them to continue progressing through that. So one example that I use, if you had like a 5-year-old who wasn't able, her fine motor skills weren't working very well for writing, fine and gross motor skills, and then not able to use scissors as well. So what you would do is basically have the task of cutting get more and more difficult. So you would start with like a square or like a triangle and then eventually get to like stars and hearts and things that would be more difficult. And this would be helpful for the clients who do have delays in their performance with physical and motor development and cognitive development. And that could be developed by basically going through and slowly giving them tasks that are going to increase with difficulty. The assumptions basically that oh, I realize I'm wrong. I'm sorry. This last part is wrong, but yeah, basically helpful with people who have delays in developmental skills. Sorry, I was in the wrong one on the very last part. All right, and then the very last one I have is cognitive. So cognitive, all right. So this one, I tried to pick four. They were all somewhat different so that I can hit on different things. So with the cognitive one, basically, we've talked a lot about physical development. This is more cognitive, so how the brain is functioning and thinking. So things I put like going from I can't do this to I can do this, sad or happy, sad, happy, sad, heart, because emotions and feelings are all tied in together, rainstorm to sunshine. So basically, just your emotions affect a lot of things. Your emotions can affect your feelings, how you think, and cognition affects how basically you do things. So there, you might have all the physical ability in the world, but if cognitively you're not able to do those things, then you can't do it. So, just kind of what I touched on, negative thoughts, patterns, emotions, behaviors, those are all part of cognitive. So, and those do affect your daily functioning. And the assumptions for this is that those how you're thinking is going to influence your behavior, both physical, what you choose to do, and also your emotion, your choices that you make in the day. So by helping clients kind of figure out what is it that they're doing, why do they think this way, and maybe helping them come up with better strategies. So some of the interventions that would fit into this would be identifying helpful or what things that they're doing that aren't helpful, coping strategies, and problem solving skills would all be very helpful. And this would help for people who do have any type of cognitive issues that are going on right now, anxiety, depression, PTSD, or just a few that it would be helpful for. And then the way an OTA could implement, or, looking through this way, so they would help clients do activities that are like meaningful activities, but also helping them to learn coping strategies. Stress management would be another thing, just basically problem solving, helping them figure out different ways of kind of rethinking how they do things. And then, so the example that I have is a 28-year-old female. She has general anxiety disorder, about being out in crowds and going places. So what we would do is like we would give her a task. So like she doesn't want to go publicly at all. So let's just give her something to do like, okay, go ahead and go to the grocery store. And then we don't just throw her into the grocery store. We kind of start with something like, hey, make your shopping list. Okay. And then kind of go over what is it that you're experiencing, and then again help her create those problem solving skills with that. And it would be helpful for someone who has, again, we talked about this a little bit, negative thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and how to kind of think about those things differently so that they are able to participate in those meaningful occupations. All right, thank you guys.